Today we are going to discuss equipments for emulsions processing. So equipments used for emulsion preparation are mortar and pestle, agitators, mechanical mixers, colloid mills, homogenizers, ultrasonic devices and microfluidizers. So emulsions may be prepared by using one of several mixers that are available. Now question arises that how we will decide that which equipment we should use. So the selection of emulsification equipment depends on a number of interrelated factors including the oil used, means which type of oil we are going to use. For example, low viscosity oil or high viscosity oil. Number 2, the volume of emulsion to be prepared. For example, either we are going to prepare small volume emulsion as we usually prepare in a laboratory or in a pharmacy, or either we are going to prepare large volume emulsion as we prepare in pharmaceutical industry. Number 3, the type of emulsifier used, the range of droplet sizes required, the flow properties of the emulsion during the emulsification and cooling processes, phase to volume ratios, and the desired physical properties of the product. Means what would be the consistency of our final emulsion. Either it would be a liquid emulsion or either it would be a semi-solid emulsion. So these are factors the selection of equipment based on. So let's discuss all these equipments one by one. First one is mortar and pestle. On a small scale, as in the laboratory or pharmacy, emulsions may be prepared using a dry porcelain mortar and pestle instead of a glass mortar. Actually, a mortar with a rough rather than smooth inner surface must be used to ensure proper grinding action and reduction of the globule size during the preparation of emulsion. That's why a glass mortar is not used, because it has too smooth surface that it can't produce the proper size reduction of the internal phase. Next is agitators and mechanical mixers. Laboratory shaking devices can be used for small scale production. Even ordinary shakers can be employed in the emulsification of easily dispersed low viscosity oils. One example is planetary mixer. The planetary mixer is so named because the mixing blade, commonly known as the beater, rotates in a planetary motion inside the mixer bowl. This type of mixer is also commonly found in the domestic kitchen, where commonly the mixing blade is known as the beater. And large machines which operate on the same principle are used in the pharmaceutical industry. When used for mixing of semi-solids, as you can see in this diagram, they are designed so that there is only a small clearance between the vessel and the pedal in order to ensure sufficient shear. So in case of emulsions, the droplet size of internal phase depends on the shear force within the gap between the spinning blade and the stationary vessel. Mechanical mixers fitted with various propellers or impellers and pedals are available in various sizes and with various motor speeds to prepare both small scale and large scale batches of emulsion. Look at these mixers. For example, in A and B diagram, they have a propeller attached to a shaft driven by an electric motor, are convenient and portable, and can be used for both stirring and emulsification, as this type operates best in mixtures that have low viscosity. For example, mixtures with a viscosity of glycerin or less. That's why they are useful for preparing emulsions. Production size mixers used in pharmaceutical industry include high powered propeller shaft stirrers or pedal systems immersed in a large tank. As you can see in C diagram, there are baffles present in a tank. These baffles often are built into a tank to increase mixing efficiency. If you look at diagram D, it is representing a propeller and an impeller. Actually, propellers and impellers both provide thrust. but do it in different ways. A propeller has angled blades which can cause the circulation of the fluid in both an axial and a radial direction, while an impeller is a rotor that produces a sucking force and is a part of pump. A propeller is always open and an impeller is always closed. As in D diagram, you can see propeller at right side and impeller at left side. Another example of mechanical mixer is turbine mixer. A turbine mixer has a number of blades that may be straight as shown in first diagram or curved as shown in second diagram with or without a pitch mounted on a shaft. The shear can be increased by using diffuser rings as shown in third diagram that are perforated and surround the turbine so that the liquid from the turbine must pass through holes. The turbines tend to give a greater shear than propellers. The turbines can be used for both low viscosity mixtures and medium viscosity liquids. The degree of steering and shear by propeller or turbine mixers depends on several factors such as the type of impeller or propeller, the speed of rotation, pattern of liquid flow, position in the container, baffles in the container, and the general shape of the container. Next equipment is colloid mills. The principle of operation of the colloid mill is the passage of the mixed phases of an emulsion formula between a stator and a high-speed rotor revolving at speeds of 2000 to 18,000 rpm. The clearance between the rotor and stator is very small but adjustable from 0.001 inches and up. Clearance means the distance between rotor and stator, that means the gap between rotor and stator. It means that colloid mills operate on the principle of high shear which is generated between the rotor and the stator of the mill. As the name indicates, stator is static part and rotor is the part which revolves at various speeds. So, when the emulsion mixture passes between the rotor and the stator, it is subjected to a tremendous shearing action that produces a fine dispersion of uniform size. This is the diagram of complete colloid mill. And here you can see different types of rotors used in colloid mills. These may be smooth, which are used mostly for emulsion preparation, or serrated or tooth, which are used usually for ointments and very viscous products preparation. Actually, the operating principle is the same for all colloid mills, but each manufacturer incorporates specific features that result in changes in operating efficiency. The shearing force applied in the colloid mill usually results in a temperature increase within the emulsion, and it may be necessary therefore to use jacketed equipment to cool the emulsion during processing. As for the stability of emulsion, temperature control is very necessary. Mostly colloid mills are used to reduce the particle size of solids and for the preparation of suspensions, especially for those suspensions which contain solids that are not wetted by the dispersion medium. Next equipment is homogenizer. Homogenizers function by forcing the crude mixture of liquids through a small orifice under high pressure. Look at this diagram. The mixed phases or the coarse emulsion are passed between the valve and seat under high pressure. This produces the effect of atomization. This effect is more enhanced when atomized mixtures strikes the surrounding metal surfaces. As the liquid when impact on a solid surface set at right angles to the direction of flow, they operate at pressures of 1000 to 5000 pounds per square inch and produce fine droplets smaller than 1 micrometer. Because when they operate at this high pressures, it will produce the finest dispersions and a homogenized product. The homogenizers of various designs and sizes are useful for handling either liquids or paste, so they may also be used with suspensions. The homogenizers with different valve assemblies and a wide range of capacities are available. The advantage of homogenizer is that it does not incorporate air into the final product because air may ruin an emulsion. Another advantage is that the temperature rise during homogenization is not very large, as occurs in case of colloid mills. Next equipments are ultrasonic devices. The preparation of emulsions by the use of ultrasonic vibration is also possible. The mechanism of emulsion formation is that ultrasound produces alternate regions of cavitation and compression in the emulsion, and very fine droplets form when the cavities collapse with extreme force. This phenomenon is further explained in this slide. Here you can see the ultrasound causing cavitation, and these cavities collapse with extreme force to produce fine droplets. However, the energy density is highly localized, giving poorer reproducibility on a large scale. That's why this method is not practical for large scale production. And next equipment is microfluidizer. Microfluidizers have been used to produce very fine particles. Actually, this process subjects the emulsion to an extremely high velocity through microchannels into an interaction chamber. As a result, droplets are subjected to shear, turbulence, impact, and cavitation. In this way, small size droplets of internal phase are produced. Two advantages of this type of equipment are lack of contamination in the final product and ease of production scale up. Microfluidizers are commonly used to prepare parenteral emulsions in both the laboratory and on scale up. Separate oil and water phases are pumped into a chamber under high pressure, causing the liquids to accelerate at high velocity and interact with each other as they impinge on a hard surface. The shear and turbulent forces induced lead to the breakup of droplets to form an emulsion. Very small droplets are produced by recycling of the system a number of times through the microfluidizer. Thank you.